hatred burns through the cavernous deeps. Cling while you can, heroes. You and your world are doomed.
So you want to know about Deathwing? Do you like pain? Do you like agony? Do you like torment? Then Deathwing, the single most requested hero in the entire history of Heroes of the Storm, the Destroyer, is for you. The dragons of Azeroth had a humble beginning. Proto-drakes only followed their primal instincts of eat, sleep and mate. But one of their kind grew so large that he became a threat to the entire existence of the planet. Galakrond. The Titans, collectively known as the Pantheon, godlike beings from the cosmos, had entrusted their powers within units called Keepers to act in their place. And the Keeper Tyr tried to rein in the monstrosity, but lost his hand in the process. 5 proto-dragons, Alexstrasza the Red, her sister Ysera the Green, Malygos the Blue, Nostromo the Bronze, and Neltharion the Black, were a little bit stronger and more intelligent than their brethren, and helped Tyr once and for all eliminate Galakrond. In order to help prevent another Galakrond or threats to the planet, the dragons were asked if they would join the Keepers in guarding over it. They agreed, and through the aid of additional Keepers, the Titans acted through them and imbued each dragon with a portion of their power. And so, the aspects were born, each safeguarding a different aspect of the planet: life, dreams, magic, time, and the earth. Neltharion was blessed by Khaz'goroth to be the aspect of earth, since he was the strongest of the 5. These were the words spoken in his mind as he received his gift. My blessing upon you will seem humble compared to those which have been bestowed upon the others. The managing of time, of life, of dreams and magic. I offer you the earth, the soil, the ground, the deep places. But know that the earth is the basis of all things. It is where we are rooted, where you must come from, if you are to go to. Here is whence true strength comes, within the world, and within oneself. Now, it is impossible to select a new aspect or even try to call a new one as long as the current one lives. And then, Azeroth's 2 moons have to be aligned in what is called the Embrace for the magic to bestow the powers onto a new dragon to function, which happens every 420 years. So this was it. These were the aspects. Their draconic forms were enhanced and changed, and they had mighty powers, and although it's not forbidden for different colored dragons to mate, they each separated into their own dragonflight, as they all had different duties. Wyrmrest Temple was established as a base for gatherings and as a sanctum for each of the flight's clutches. In the Dragonblight, a place where all dragons naturally wandered to die, and it stood as a symbol of their unity. Neltharion became the leader of the Black Dragonflight, with his prime mate Syntharia. Known as the Earth Warder, he was known for his wisdom and strength. Malygos the Spellweaver, jolly and always displaying the magnificence that was magic, was his closest friend in these early times. But Neltharion, over time, came to view the charge, the weight of the entire planet placed upon him, as a burden he alone must bear, and his soul almost felt suffocated by it, knowing that the Titans viewed Azeroth as little more than an experiment, and flawed, only fueled his resentment. Seeing as he was connected to the deep places of the earth, it didn't take long for the whispers of an old god, N'Zoth, imprisoned beneath Azeroth's waves, to reach his mind and twist it, offering freedom It is noted that Neltharion, as he received his gift, already heard some sort of voice or whispers in the distance, so it is possible that he just was born mad. He dreamed of a world where he'd be free, where only his dragonflight reigned, Alexstrasza and Ysera slaves to mate with.
Let go. Serve me.
You? You are nothing.
Nothing. I am a god! Before you walked this land, I ruled.
The queen of the Night Elves, Azshara, was lured into a deal with the corrupted titan Sargeras, trying to usher him into the world through a portal, a wound in the world known as the Well of Eternity, a great source of magical power. Neltharion was urged to create the Dragon Soul, imbued with the taint of the old gods, that of captured demons, as well as his blood, and a spell so that his fellow aspects could not sense its evil. This way, the soul could amplify the portal and create a gateway for the old gods to escape their prison. These might have been some of the whispers Neltharion heard over thousands of years by N'Zoth.
Your allies plot the trail. They know what is coming. They know you will be its herald. Serve me. Let go of hope. Strike down your allies and begin your true ascension. There is no other path. Your betrayal will be glorious.
When the demons of Sargeras' burning legion invaded Azeroth, and the Night Elves desperately needed aid against them, Neltharion sought to complete the Dragon Soul, asking all other aspects, as well as their flights, to give a piece of their power, turning the small disc into a powerful weapon to fight the Legion, under the guise that it was their duty to protect Azeroth after all. Secretly, he and his flight had not given any power to the Dragon Soul, since he knew he couldn't possibly stand against 4 full-strength aspects on his own once he decided to betray them.
It is done. All have given that which must be given. I now seal the Dragon Soul forever.
That terrible glow. Should that be?
For it to be as it must, yes.
It is a weapon like no other. It must be like no other.
When he unleashed the devastating power of the Dragon Soul, he annihilated Night Elves and demons alike. He then turned the Dragon Soul on his former friends, and almost entirely destroyed the blue Dragonflight. Seeing as magic was such a core part of their being, they shriveled and died. Many of the other dragons were killed or blasted across the land. In fear of death itself, the other aspects fled and shielded themselves, going into hiding. The Dragon Soul, now named Demon Soul, and the corruption of the old gods was taking its toll on his body, and Neltharion began to literally break apart, magma flowing through his open gaps, his molten heart revealed in his gaping chest, and his eyes burning red with his power and hatred. Thus, Deathwing, the Destroyer, aspect of death, was born. He retreated to his lair and had special adamantium armor forged and welded onto his scales to keep him from literally bursting apart. The Demon Soul would be stolen by Malfurion's Stormrage, the portal sealed, and the well imploding in on itself, creating a violent whirlpool in the middle of the ocean, known as the Maelstrom, breaking the Pangea that was Kalimdor apart. At the request of the other aspects, the Dragon Soul was to be hidden away. They sealed the magic within it, so that Deathwing himself could not use it again, should he find it. The now corrupted Black Dragonflight, with Deathwing being in hibernation after the wounds inflicted by the Demon Soul, was hunted to near extinction. When the orcs invaded Azeroth thanks to Medivh and Gul'dan, Deathwing was urged once again by Old God Whispers to spread chaos, infiltrating the Stormwind House of Nobles as Lord Davel Prestor, with his daughter Onyxia as Katrana Prestor. He tried to disadvantage the humans in every possible way, thinking that the orcs would help restore his flight to glory, knowing that if he came out of hiding, everyone would turn against him. With the dark portal to Draenor, the orcs' homeworld, open, he stashed some of his flight's eggs on the foreign planet. He knew that the demon soul was out there, and knew no dragon could ever wield it again. But an orc could. Knowing where it was hidden, he gave visions to the orc Zulu head. Necros Skullcrusher retrieved it from a cavern deep in the mountain protected by a red dragon. Deathwing then taught them how to use the demon soul. Alexstrasza, sensing that something was wrong, went to check in on her fellow red and flew right into Deathwing's trap. Necros, using the power of the demon soul, enslaved Alexstrasza and made the rest of her reds obedient by lashing out at her whenever they tried to attack him. The Dragonmaw clan would now use her brood as machines for war, and the thought of her hard suffering delighted Deathwing. He would relish every moment of her torment. Seeing as his flight was almost extinct, he made the orcs think that the humans were on a march to Grim Batol, where Alex was held captive, and made them move her along with her eggs. In truth, he wanted to steal batches of her flight and raise them as his own, with a hatred for mortals. His attack on the caravan failed, and the dragon soul would soon be destroyed by the human mage Ronin Redhair, and at the behest of Alex's second prime mate, Corialstras, the other aspect sought another confrontation with Deathwing, using one of Deathwing's own scales to cut it like butter. The power stolen by the dragon soul surged back into the other aspects, and Alexstrasza broke free of her captors, swallowing Necros whole, and instead of fighting him with her magic or claws like the others, she shared her pain with Deathwing, pain only a mother would feel, seeing her children used for war and slaughtered for disobedience. It was too much for him, and he had to retreat. The orcs would have to retreat back to Draenor as well, and the catastrophe led to the shattering of the world, now teeming with magical energies, which infused themselves into Deathwing's eggs, creating the Netherwing flight, abandoned, to fend for themselves and find their own path in this world. Malygos, after all that had happened, would fall into depression, and would later start the Nexus War to stop mortals from using magic and be killed by Alexstrasza and players. To stop the war, and as an act of mercy, Calicos would succeed Malygos as the aspect of magic. Deathwing's son Nefarian and Sinestra, aka Syntharia, would experiment on eggs and dragons in Deathwing's name, leading to the chromatic dragonflight, an attempt at fusing all powers of each flight into one dragon, and the Twilight dragonflight, dragons who would feed upon the energies of other dragons. Deathwing had retreated back to Deepholm, the elemental plane of Earth, to recuperate once again, and was joined by the Twilight's Hammer cult, a fanatical group dedicated to worshipping the old gods. N'Zoth's fellow old gods, Cthulhu and Yogg-Saron, woke from their slumber, and had joined the whispers in Deathwing's mind.
Kill them all before they kill you.
His reawakening caused the second sundering of the world, the Cataclysm, and he left a path of destruction in his wake. Alexstrasza tried to kill Deathwing on her own, seeing as it was her duty as protector of life.
Lifebinder, do you presume that I'm at your beck and call? I have a world to unmake.
It pains me, Neltharion, but I must end you, as I have ended Malygos.
End me, Lifebinder. You think life is yours to take away? Life is weak, mortal, fleeting, fragile. Death is final. Death is eternal. Death is my realm. Look upon me, and you see death incarnate, the unmaker of worlds.
I see the hollow metal shell of a once great ally, and the precious gift of the Titans wasted.
Then witness my new gifts, bestowed by this world's true masters!
Neltharion, look at yourself. Misshapen, twisted. You're coming apart!
Just as all life ends in death, all order must end in chaos! Come, embrace the inevitable, as I have!
There! They've fallen!
The Earth Warder, he is dead.
Mother, stay still. Your wounds are great.
The Black Aspect's blood is cursed. Wherever it was shed, nothing will grow for 10,000 years. But it is over. We can work now to bottle up the horrors he has unleashed.
You think to entrap me?
Deathwing! He lives!
Impossible!
Mortal! Take the Dragon Queen. Carry her to safety. Now! Run! Get her away from here! I will delay the aspect of death! Take her to safety! Go!
Galen! No!
The sun has set on this mortal world, fools. Make peace with your end, for the hour of Twilight falls!
Didn't quite work out. Ysera the Dreamer was having a nightmare. The world was barren, everything dead and rotting. The world once again ruled by the old gods, the aspects, destroyed by their own powers. Deathwing, of no further use to them, impaled upon Wormrest Temple, a final act of madness, the hour of Twilight. This must not come to pass. Ysera sought out the shaman, Thrall, and together with the other aspects, retrieved the original dragon soul from the Well of Eternity with the help of Nostormu and Chromie.
It is too powerful!
How dare you touch my creation! It is mine! Mine!
Neltharion! What have you done? You have doomed us all to the madness of the old gods!
It is mine!
He is lost, Tall Sister. He is Neltharion.
The power of the soul is tearing him apart!
I will not be denied!
The old gods protect the soul.
The dragon soul is safe once again. Quickly, into the time portal before this world sunders.
They then channeled all of their powers into it, with Thrall as a placeholder for the aspect of Earth, and used it to make a final stand against Deathwing as he attacked Wormrest's temple with the aid of the old gods, who now showed the true corruption that had taken him so long ago.
The ritual will take much from us, as it requires a very piece of our being. We will be weakened greatly.
Heroes, this burden falls to you once again.
It is good to see you again, Alexstrasza. I have been busy in my absence, twisting your pitiful whelps into mindless abominations, bent only to my will. It was a very painful process.
They are my clutch no longer. Bring them down.
Mere whelps, experiments, a means to a greater end. You will see what the research of my clutch has yielded. Nefarian, Onyxia, Sinestra, they were nothing. Now you face my ultimate creation. The hour of Twilight is nigh. The sun sets on your pitiful, mortal existence.
I sense a great disturbance in the balance approaching. The chaos of it burns my mind.
I am the beginning of the end. The shadow which blots out the sun. The bell which tolls your doom. For this moment alone was I made. Look upon your death, mortals, and despair. But I am all tracks.
It is done. Our power now resides within the Dragon Soul. Our fate lies with you, Earthwarder.
Teresa, Cairn, Agra, I will not fail you. I will not fail this world.
Coming apart! Tear up the plates, and we've got a shot at bringing them down!
You are less than dust, fit only to be brushed from my back.
I will bring you closer to the immortal. Seek safety there when the fight becomes too intense.
Your armor means nothing. Your faith, even less.
I will slow the Destroyer's attacks when I can.
There is no hope, no future. All life is doomed.
I will cleanse whatever corruption I can. My fire will not harm you.
I will charge you with arcane energy to blast your foes!
Watch as your world comes to an end!
Attack him now! We must stop the final cataclysm!
Deathwing, the destroyer, the end of all things. Inevitable, indomitable, I am the Cataclysm!
Join me in the attack, now!
I will realign the flow of mana and fill the Dragon Soul with all my arcane might.
The unknowable, transcendent power of the Emerald Dream, I now give unto the Dragon Soul.
The fire of my heart glows with a brilliant purity unmatched. Every spark of it I will channel into the Dragon Soul.
It is time. I will expend everything to bind every thread, here, now, around the Dragon Soul. What comes to pass will never be undone.
I can feel the elements awakening, rejoicing. The Cataclysm is over.
The champions who fought at our side assured the survival of our world. But now, we must see it with mortal eyes. We dragon aspects have fulfilled our great purpose, and our ancient power is expended. But though our day draws to an end, life endures, and new generations will be born. Today's victory belongs to all who stood against the shadow. You are Azeroth's true guardians, and the future of this world is in your hands. For the dawning of the Age of Mortals has begun.
And so ends Deathwing's legacy. The Black Dragonflight died with Neltharion. Or did it?
I do not share my father's madness. To my knowledge, I am the only Black Dragon who remains. Did you hear what happened to the rest of the Black Dragonflight? I had them killed. All of them. And they were family. Don't look so surprised. We dragons are conscious, even within our shells. As I grew, I could hear the plotting and scheming. The treacherous Red Dragonflight. I was to be born a prisoner. But I'm one of a kind. A black dragon raised free from the taint of my father's corruption. And that's how I intend to stay. Free. Deathwing's minions should be afraid of me. I will never be controlled. The Red Dragonflight has no idea what they unleashed when they experimented on my egg.
I don't know what Wrathion sees in you.
Deathwing is pretty much the only character in World of Warcraft who seriously does not have a static voice actor throughout the ages, constantly being replaced for whatever reason, which made this section really difficult because, damn, I looked for it. I tried, but so much is uncredited or unconfirmed. But here we go. In Wrath of the Lich King, he was presumably voiced by Michael McConaughey. In Hearthstone, he is confirmed voiced by Patrick Seitz, the voice of Garrosh. Deathwing is voiced in the Cataclysm cinematic by Michael Leon Woolley. In Cataclysm, he is confirmed voiced by Michael McConaughey. In Heroes of the Storm, he is once again voiced by an uncredited voice actor. And many thought that he was actually voiced by Chris Metzen at some point, which was debunked by Blizzard employees. As always, here's some comparisons between the different games and the different voice actors. So, which one's your favorite?
Do you like fire? I'm full of it. Pain. Agony. My hatred burns. Pain.
cavernous deeps. I am power incarnate! All will burn! I shall tear this world apart, embrace the chaos. There's no shelter from my fury. Look upon me, the aspect of death. Your tenacity is admirable. This is the end of all things! Look upon me and see death incarnate, the unmaker of worlds. Look upon me, and you see death incarnate, the unmaker of worlds. Just as all life ends in death, all order must end in chaos. Just as all life ends in death, all order must end in chaos! I will tear your world apart. I shall tear this world apart! Your tenacity is admirable, but pointless. Your tenacity is admirable, but pointless. You ride into the jaws of the apocalypse.
The reason why Deathwing has a metal jaw is because it looks damn cool. Literally, early designs of Deathwing were more aligned with traditional dragons and WoW, but everyone felt like something's missing, and the metal jaw and bladed tail were added and were an instant hit, and people wonder why Deathwing's so popular. He's just a damn cool dragon. Deathwing was the WoW login screen for Cataclysm. Deathwing has a wingspan of 365 meters or 1,200 feet. That's the Empire State Building for reference. The only mortal Deathwing ever feared was Medivh, admitting he'd never openly fight him. And he had a certain respect for Khadgar, his apprentice, as Khadgar even loosened his armor plates with a powerful spell that made him retreat during a fight. Note that Medivh had some of Sargeras's power within him, i.e. the power of a titan, just like his fellow aspects. Deathwing was seen Deathwing was seen smoking a hookah at one point, which was blamed on a miscommunication. But Blizzard chose to keep it anyway, because the game it was in was never officially released. There used to be one instance where Deathwing is seen canonically in his human form, and an actual human fight between Deathwing and Alexstrasza, which was removed in Cataclysm Beta, as well as Alex's old voice.
I have a world to unmake.
It pains me, Neltharion, but I must end you as I have ended Malagos.
And his human model is only ever used in fictional settings within the game, despite being on quite a lot of promotional art. Deathwing just doesn't like his mortal form. For the uninitiated in HOTS history, Deathwing was a meme hero. After being requested so many times, people were excited to see a claw mark and hear growls during the 2017 Hanamura Showdown teaser. The new hero was D.Va all along! And they were fighting Diablo. And it even got memed by Blizzard a bunch of times. But who's laughing now?
What is a dragon's favorite car? A Wormrest Accord. Ba-da-ba.
The Wormrest Accord is the faction that represents Alexstrasza's champions and the Wormrest Temple. And if you become exalted with them in-game, you even get a neato little red drake mount.
Deathwing. Your old gods hold no sway here.
Naive whelp. They have already taken root in your own mind.
Wrathion. Anduin. It's been so long. N'Zoth will strike here. He'll manipulate emotions, get people to act in ways contrary to their nature. You won't be able to trust your senses, your memories, your friends. After all, what is real if our perceptions cannot be trusted? Don't you see, old friend? It's already begun.
Deathwing is the first hero in Heroes of the Storm to cost 5,000 extra gold upon release, sitting at 20,000 gold for purchase instead of the usual 15,000. He was so requested and such a unique and special project that the team even thought about making him a mythic level hero. The ancient Deathwing skin is a reference to Deathwing's original appearance in Warcraft 2, where he's not a black dragon, but a green dragon. Deathwing has a special nameplate that references elite mobs in World of Warcraft, which usually have increased damage and health and need several players to take down. In the Elven tongue, Deathwing is named Alexstrasza, which is the name of his theme in the Cataclysm trailer. And Deathwing is the third dragon in the game and represents the third Dragonflight in Heroes of the Storm, with Chromie representing the bronze, even though she is not an aspect. She is not an aspect! It's no Stormu. And Alexstrasza, who is the aspect of the reds. So all you would need for an aspect or Dragonflight dream team is someone from the blue Dragonflight, probably Calicos or Maligos, and someone from the green Dragonflight, probably Ysera. Kaylee's from the future here. So I made this video back when he was first released and he was kinda OP. Ever since then, he's been nerfed to the ground. Not to the ground, but he's a shell of himself. Instead of playing him like a bruiser who goes in and just wrecks shit half the time, you're now kind of expected to play him as a ranged mage with a lot of health. So I didn't want to put the old video out there with totally inaccurate information because he's been changed since then. So I re-recorded this entire section. His trait is Aspect of Death. Deathwing is fitted with 4 armor plates, which grant 10 armor each, reducing damage taken by 10%. Every 25% health lost causes Deathwing to lose a plate. Plates are only restored when Dragonflight is used and are based on the amount of health Deathwing has when landing. Deathwing is also a mighty dragon aspect, who is permanently unstoppable and deals 100% additional spell damage to heroes, but views his allies with contempt and ignores any of their friendly effects. Meaning your allies cannot heal you, you cannot be buffed, you cannot benefit from their shields or anything. As far as I know, only Alexstrasza's W talent, which spawns a regen globe, will heal you. If you die, you have no one to blame but yourself. Also, 100% additional spell damage to heroes just means it's a fancy way of saying he does 50% less damage to structures. Deathwing uses energy instead of mana as a resource. Deathwing has 100 max energy, which regenerates at 5 energy per second, even while channeling. Although he is unstoppable, he's still affected by time stops and stasises, like Medivh's Leyline Seal or Chromie's Time Trap, or Mayev's jail thing, Chrysalis. And he can still be affected by any non-crowd control debuffs, like attack slows, dots, damage modifiers, healing modifiers, revealed, armor debuffs, and hero-specific debuffs that are not tied to applying a crowd control effect on the target. So basically, he's a big sponge for your quest talents on the enemy team. Deathwing cannot be eaten by Sagara's devouring maw. Deathwing does not heal when hearthing to the Hall of Storms. This is because the developers wanted to avoid him just continuously hearthing to get his health up faster. His one is form switch. He will always start the game in Destroyer form. You can use this to switch between Destroyer and Worldbreaker. Destroyer is your all-in melee bruiser type stance, and Worldbreaker is your ranged mage sieging sort of stance. Whenever Deathwing dies, he respawns in the form he died with. His Q is Molten Flame. After 1.5 seconds, Deathwing breathes a stream of flame, dealing 21 damage every 0.125 seconds, drains 30 energy per second. This is the only base ability that is unchanged in both forms. You can use this in Destroyer and Worldbreaker form. It can be cancelled 0.75 seconds after successfully casting it. This I usually do when there's melee and I want to juke them out and I'm in Destroyer form. So I channel Molten Flame and then quickly cancel it to lure people into thinking I'm just gonna stand there and channel my Molten Flame, and once they're in range and I get a successful jump, they're slowed, so I can continuously auto-attack them and keep chomping them. All of Deathwing's abilities, I'm just gonna straight up tell you, they're slow AF. He feels like the slowest hero in a game. He hits like a truck, but he's so slow. Anyone with eyeballs can avoid any of his skill shots. Everything he does has a wind up. This is a good ability, especially with Q build on maps where there's a lot of choke points, and you can force the enemy to fight in said choke points and just roast them to death. If you can follow up on CC, because everything has such a long wind up, you'll get more value out of your Q and your overall Deathwing experience ever since they nerfed Destroyer build. A full channel of Q is usually enough to wipe out an entire minion wave. His W in Destroyer form is Incinerate. After 0.75 seconds, Deathwing flaps his wings, dealing 65 damage to nearby enemies. Pretty much does what it says. With a talent that I usually take if I intend to go Destroyer build, every time I flap my wings, I'll heal myself, and I like doing this in the middle of the enemy team when I can hit all of them and get a massive heal up. It can bamboozle so many people who thought you're dead, then they pile up on you, you flap your wings, and then you just suddenly get all this health back. It's just something you press when you go Destroyer build, because it's really important in Destroyer build, not so much if you're going Q build. His W in Worldbreaker form is Lava Burst. After a 1 second delay, deal 30 damage to all enemies in the area and create a pool of magma that deals 24 damage per second and slows enemies by 35%. Lasts 6 seconds. Lava Burst is pretty decent wave clear if you don't want to use your Q. I also like to put this in choke points to slow people down, kind of like I do with White Mane and her slow. Just prevent people from escaping. I also have a little combo that I do with his E, his W, and his Q. Since there isn't really much to say about this, let's just move on to his E. I'm trying to get through this a little bit more quickly because he and Alexstrasza are probably one of the most bloated heroes because they have 2 stances and 2 forms, along with Valeera with her stealth, so I'm trying not to spend too much time on this. His E is Onslaught. After 0.5 seconds, Deathwing lunges in a direction, dealing 38 damage to enemies and slowing them by 35% for 2 seconds. Deathwing bites enemies at the end of the lunge, dealing an additional 72 damage. This is a somewhat good engage and a somewhat good disengage. The jump is kind of short for the wind up it has. You do bite people, auto attack, W weave sort of to kill them, keep them slowed as much as possible. And if you stutter step attack, you should be able to keep up with them if they don't have any sort of movement speed or blink or anything to wait out the 5 seconds and then do a lunge again and hopefully get that extra damage out. I always try to hit with the end of the bite. You have a little indicator where that extra damage is, where you need to hit. So if you auto attack and they move away while you're like winding up your onslaught, you should be able to hit them with the extra bite damage. His E in Worldbreaker form, Earth Shatter. Create a fissure of earth that deals 90 damage to enemies hit and stuns them for 0.75 seconds. This one is kind of weird to get used to because it's 2 lines that fork outward and they won't stun until the animation hits the hero. So it gives him a small window even after you wind up to still dodge the stun. And what I like to do is use my E, immediately use W on the spot where I think I'm gonna stun them, and then immediately press Q to get a bit of Q damage out while they're slowed in my W. And this stun is especially easy to hit if they are right on top of you, because it goes out from your paws, and the hitbox, the window for the skill shot, is the smallest at your paw. You're almost guaranteed to hit someone if you use Earth Shatter point blank. His heroic is Cataclysm. After 2 seconds, Deathwing flies in the targeted direction, dealing 90 damage on impact and leaving scorched ground that deals 36 damage a second, lasts 6 seconds. Deathwing starts the game with his heroic, but it's on a 270 second cooldown at the beginning of the match, so you won't be able to use it until like level 7 or 8. And it can be used to go over terrain, so it's a great engage, disengage, as long as you channel it early enough, because 2 seconds is a hell of a wind up, and sometimes you just channel it, you do like a Hail Mary Cataclysm channel, and then you're just dead because you're stuck in place while you're channeling. So they just keep bombarding you and trying to get this Cataclysm off to escape, and then you're just dead. So you gotta do it early enough. His mount is Dragonflight. After 3 seconds, fly into the sky, becoming immune to all effects and gaining 2.5% health per second. Once cast, this ability cannot be interrupted. Cannot be cast for 4 seconds after taking damage, basic attacking, or casting an ability. Once it has been cast, taking damage will not interrupt it, but you can also not cancel it. If you're in the muscle memory of hitting your mount button from another hero, and then you play Deathwing and you hit it,
I just flew up in the air when I meant to mount.
You're committed. You're out. You just wasted a 45-second cooldown. So be careful with that. This is really important to get kind of in the mindset of using, because his entire level 7 tree is dedicated to his mount ability. So Deathwing is kind of a global hero. I say kind of because it takes him so long to do anything after landing. Watch. It takes 3 seconds to fly into the sky. It takes however long it takes you to get the health that you want. Then it takes 1.75 seconds, so almost 2 seconds, to land again. And then Deathwing cannot use any abilities for 3 seconds after landing. So it's basically 8 seconds of you being kind of useless. Dragonflight lasts indefinitely until you land or get flagged for AFK. If you take the level 7 Skyfall talent, then you could technically stay up in the air indefinitely. I've never done it, but it's possible because you're still doing damage on the battlefield, you're still engaging. So technically a Deathwing could troll by staying in the air indefinitely, taking that talent and just booping something every minute or so. While in the air, enemies will be alerted by occasional roars that you are off the map. Landing with Deathwing is very dangerous. If you do it in the middle of the enemy team or on a point or something, they can line up all of their skill shots as well on your landing area. Deathwing is one of the most predictable heroes in the game because everything he does has a wind up, a delay, so when you land and there's a Greyman on the team, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get hit by a bullet every time you land, unless someone's in front and soaking it for you. Deathwing can only land where he has vision, and you can choose to land in Destroyer form or Worldbreaker form. As for talents, I am a strong advocate of Destroyer build. It's my favorite build to play on Deathwing because it's just a lot of fun to go in, wreck shit, and get out. Because there's so many heroes in the game that can just melt his health pool, I would never first pick Deathwing in ranked. He's like a second to last pick because Bullet Greymane, Malthael with his mobility, like with his teleport, Tychus, Cassia, Chromie, Nazebo with his 50 million dot damage will just ruin your time. And also Zeratul. He hurts a lot. Deathwing is pretty much a liability when it comes to going up against heroes with a lot of mobility or blinks or something. If you're playing him in an organized setting, you need some kind of CC for Deathwing when he's not in Destroyer build to work. And you as Deathwing need to be able to follow up or just resign yourself to your fate and become a solo laner and just try to siege as much as possible. He can't clear camps that fast, so I wouldn't exactly use him as a Zul replacement, like a we got Zul at home. I personally wouldn't do that, but you do you, sugar. So since Q build is kind of the de facto meta mainstream build right now, I'll tell you Q build first, and then I'll tell you Destroyer build and why I love it. For Q build, there was actually a Reddit post that resonated with my soul whenever I play Q build Deathwing and there's no CC on my team. Nothing. I'm just on my own, just crying in a corner, just Pepe cry. Like, why won't you stand in my queue? I'm gonna read it. It perfectly encapsulated those feelings. Energy whirls around you as you focus your ki and prepare to unleash your devastating final attack, the forbidden, but technically still legal, Oblivion technique. Minutes turn to hours. You miss your rent payment. Seasons change. You're evicted. Your niece graduates from middle school, then high school. Finally, you're ready to unleash the devastating blow that you trained half a lifetime to master. Unfortunately, your arch-rival already walked out of the line of fire of your Oblivion technique several years ago and now owns 4 AutoZones in Tampa. He, his wife, and 3 adorable kids send you a card every Christmas, which you never receive because you're still here preparing to fight him. That is legitimately the best encapsulation of what it feels like playing Cupid Deathwing without CC. Oh, it's so bad. The wind-up is so bad. So for Q-Build, I personally prefer Molten Blood, because in Q-Build you're not exactly out on the front lines on the enemy team. You're mostly solo laning, soaking, staying at range, and this will help you just sustain throughout the laning phase, so you don't need to Dragonflight as much. At level 4, Infernus. At level 7, it depends, I like all of them, but Skyfall is probably the most preferred one because it's kinda OP on maps like the Towers of Doom or Garden of Terror, all of those where you have to channel, and Deathwing can fly up, he has vision of the area and can interrupt you. At level 10, I like to take Bellowing Roar for CC and just a oh shit button when they're all on you so you can get out or you can help a teammate. Burn Beneath My Shadow I feel like is only valuable until you run out of forts and keeps, because a big part of it is the reset of the cooldown. If you're just steamrolling the game and every fort and keep is down, I feel like it loses a bit of its value, so I don't really like to take it. I like to take it on Towers of Doom, because Towers of Doom, the towers just regenerate, you just keep taking them back. So I feel like that's good. At level 13, Wicked Inferno. At level 16, Conflagration. Level 20, Stood in the Fire, Arrival of a God. Probably I would take personally Arrival of a God. And don't even try to take Destroyer's Rampage when you're going Q-Build. You're kinda being counterproductive if you do this, because Destroyer's Rampage, the perfect scenario for this would be 4 or 5 person mosh pit, you land in Destroyer form with Destroyer's Rampage. You have that 40% extra damage plus all the Q talents, all the Q damage, and you just channel Q on that mosh pit or that graviton from Zarya with Destroyer's Rampage buff active. That's some 200 IQ big brain, like 5-man pre-made bullshit. Like in quick match, I wouldn't do it. I would not go Destroyer's Rampage with Q build. So then when do you take Destroyer's Rampage? Well, I'm glad you asked, Timmy. With Destroyer build! I love Destroyer build just because I'm an aggressive player. So Destroyer build is right up my alley. And with Destroyer build, you just gotta know when to go in and when to get out and when to just take your loss, take the L, because you can't keep up with people like Lunara or Orphea. And level 1 for Destroyer build. I personally like Dragon Soul. Molten Blood doesn't get as much value because you will easily lose your armor plates in the middle of the team. But I also like Draconic Might for the protected, by the way, when you're going up against a Last Rites Malthael, or maybe or just in general people who have one ult that deals a lot of damage in one shot. The protected, by the way, status will absorb some of that damage at level 4. Heat Wave. I know it's been nerfed into the ground, shut up, but I still like it, okay? It's just fun to stack up the damage, and if you kill people, their bodies will swirl around you with Heat Wave. It's so much fun. The burn damage from hitting heroes with Incinerate does not benefit from Dragon Soul lifesteal. Subsequent hits refresh the burn duration. Damaging enemy heroes with burn damage does not trigger tower aggro, and the damage bonus stacks additively at level 7. Even though I said Skyfall is kind of the default because it's so good in so many situations and it lets you land faster, I like Death Drop because for Destroyer build I go kind of hybrid, Dragonflight and base ability build, because Destroyer's Rampage, you need to use your flight to get it. So then why not just take all the abilities that benefit your flight, like Death Drop, reducing their spell armor by 15 for 6 seconds, and then taking Gaze on to Destruction later, which reduces their damage and slows them. So as long as you're pretty good with hitting your flight, the landing area, then I like the landing talents. And this spell armor reduction is not cleansed by stasis effects. At level 10, Bellowing Roar. At level 13, Ruination or Fire and Fury. It depends on how much I can actually auto attack people, or if we have a team that has a lot of slows or roots or stuns, and I can take advantage of that. At level 16, Gaze onto Destruction. As I said, I like doing a hybrid flight base ability build. And at level 20, Destroyer's Rampage. As long as you keep attacking people, you should be dishing out a metric shitload of damage. And they shouldn't do as much damage to you now, since if you hit most of them with the landing area, if you took the level 16 talent, they should do 75% less damage to you for a few seconds, which should be enough time to get enough damage in to make them want to retreat and not engage with you, and you should be able to get the upper hand. And that's it. Hopefully some more stuff you wanted to know about Deathwing. Thank you for watching. As always, more detailed stuff in the description below. Have some Deathwing clips. Enjoy! And I'll see you in the Nexus.
Oh, that's you. Oh, you can't... How do you tell the difference between a Deathwing landing? Oh, because they don't have Deathwing. That would be one way to tell.
The sun has set on this mortal world, fools. Make peace with your end, for the hour of Twilight falls.
Oh my god. I almost killed Ray. Is this health reset when he comes out?
Be gone, son!
Help me! I don't wanna die. At least he had to use his ult, I guess.
I will avenge you!
Against Malthael? No, he can out-heal your damage, probably. There's no way, right? There's no way, right? There's no way! Did you mean to go that way to the creeps?
I meant...
What's that to play?
I meant to block them off. I big brained that. I saw that coming. Although, what was she gonna do with me? I'm Deathwing. You think that's gonna stop me? I'll soak these bitches. Rare XD.
Am dragon. I see where the slug is. Oh, get spooked.
Oh, I can't stop it! Oh god. I couldn't hit my Q. Oh god.
Roar! Roar! Big roar!
Double roar!
Oh no!
What happened? I accidentally moved my minimap.
Cataclysm goes over walls.
Yes.
And so, I went over their wall and went inside their base.
Wait, can that thing go into the... Oh my god! That's actually funny.
Yes, I love that fear. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, 7-handed fucking hurts.
Where's my team? That's what I want to know.
7-sided.
You're right. What is with 7-sided strike? It doesn't do any damage on anyone else. You know what I'm gonna look forward to? Garrosh trying to toss me. Garrosh trying to do his little knock-up thing. Maybe Butcher will charge me.
Deathwing, the destroyer, the end of all things. Inevitable, indomitable, I am...
Ya boy! Die! It's me! That was the real one? Wait, what? Samuel, buddy! Diva! Come on! They're just walking at me! It's like they don't realize I'm a fucking dragon. Oh, I'm killing them all! Oh, yes! Yes, do that one! Idiot! It's me! You think you can 2v1 Deathwing? Actually, this poison hurts. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Well done. Let us press onward.
Goodbye, Deathwing.
Who do you think you are, Zeratul? Fucker wants to 1v1 me? There's a Zeratul in my ears! Oh, he got me! No! Okay. No. Okay, no. Deathwing's officially trash.